Lord Tremendous here. Got a battle report here for you. 2,000 point battle. My Tomb Kings. Yes, I went back to the Tomb Kings versus Bretonnian list. And I went back to the Tomb Kings because I got Dragon. Actually, the first list I made had 2 dragons in it. This one does not. It only has 1. I probably will play the 2 dragon list later on. It's just, it feels like it might be too much. I'd like to keep my friend group after our games. But Itamedagasi on a dragon is exciting. I missed it, and after my last game, I really, really wanted to have a dragon back on the table. Not that I think it would have changed anything in my last game. If I had a dragon, it's just I want that option on the table, and this is the way that I'm comfortable taking it. Plus, I missed the Boshati. So, yeah, this is a really good game. It's a hard-fought game, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see the carnage. Here's my list, and yes, obviously I went back to Tomb Kings. I am doing a mortuary cult, mortuary priest, whatever you want to call it, version of the Tomb King list, the Cult of Tremendous, because, I'm a narcissist. I do have 980 points in characters, and I missed Itamedagasi. He's my high priest at 430 points. He's my general on a bone dragon. He's a level 3 wizard with the Lore of Illusion. He's got a Lore Familiar, Talisman of Protection, and Flail of Skulls. And this is my favorite kit for him. I went with level 3 because I'm trying to preemptively go with the tournament rules that I think are coming in the next month or so as of this recording. Basically making it so you can have only 1 level 4, 1 level 3, and the rule of 3 and all that other jazz. Can't have more than 500 points for a character. I'm trying to adhere to all of that, and I like this kit. Level 3, really, he just needs Spectral Doppelganger and Glittering Robes. The third spell he gets is whatever, and since it's a Mortuary Priest thing, I can eat up, a monster's creature, swarm, something like that in order to add to him, provided they're within his command range. So I could have a +6 caster, basically, for Spectral Doppelganger, which is the most important spell that he has. So I'm pretty happy with this kit, and that's why I went with level 3 instead of level 4. Speaking of level 4, I have my second High Priest, Bernice. She's on a skeletal steed. She is a level 4 wizard with necromancy, because I just like that lore. She's got the Warding Splint, Akil's Canopy, and a Ruby Ring of Ruin. The idea behind this one was, giving them a 5-up armor, 5-up ward, 5-up regen. Bernice is definitely the most exposed character I have, so having a triple save on her is important. The Canopy stops the situation where there's like a whole bunch of rips on the table. Even my own, I got to get rid of them, so I'm just going to burn that Canopy. It's 1 use only, it's kind of expensive, but I replaced the Scarab Brooch or whatever it was, because I just realized in the tournament, the S-Spot 2, I really didn't need that much range for the Scorpions when I brought them on the table. And the Ruby Ring Ruin is just an excellent 2d6 strength 4 AP dash magic missile that takes out lower. Well, actually, it can take out just about anything depending on how your opponent's rolling. So I really like it a lot. And of course, I have Baby Mage, my Mortuary Priest, at 170 points. He's my BSB with the Banner of Desert Wind, because giving my huge Brick of Skeleton Archers reserve move is like cheating. And he's a level 2 wizard with Necromancy, because I like it better than Elementalism, and they have the Amulet of the Serpent. So he's my poison reroll leadership and reserve move type of dude. If he gets into combat, he's screwed, but if he gets into combat, I've made some terrible, terrible decisions. 4 is heavy at 696 points. I start off with 2 Tomb Swarms, and basically these things are just batteries for my level 2. If he's got a spell that I really want to get off, he'll eat something off the swarms. If Bernice or Itamedagasi are nearby, they'll eat off of it, but this thing is literally just a battery for casting spells. Then I've got a Brick of 30 Skeleton Archers for 195 points with full command, warbows, and light armor. I went with full command because I could have put extra skeletons in there, and I have an idea for that in a future list, but 30 skeletons is a lot. I don't want the Death Star of them, but if they get into combat, and they most likely will, the only way they're going to win combat is through attrition, so I need to be able to soak wounds and put models back on the table as they get destroyed, because they're going to. Light armor gives them, that 16% chance to save, and of course with their 6-up regen they get that as well. But the full command also gives me a unit champion I can bring back to accept challenges and hopefully deter bosses and stuff like that, heroes and lords, from destroying too many of my rank and file. That's the theory. In practice you'll see how that goes. And then I have my unit of 10 skeleton horse archers for 126 points, and these are mainly a screen for Bernice. They have a standard in there. It was supposed to be a unit champion. I don't know why I clicked standard, but I did. So to be fair, it's a standard for this game, and they have light armor for the same reason that the skeleton archers do. And then, of course, I have 6 Ushapti with Ancient because they had the points, and a Great Bows because basically it's 6 light bolt throwers, and they're awesome. And then finishing off my army is 477 points in special, which consists of 3 Tomb Scorpions with Ambushers and Terror Below because I love these guys, and 4 more Ushapti with Great Bows because I love these guys as well. My opponent for this one was a buddy of mine, Catastrophe. He was playing his Bretonian list, and he has 953 points in characters. He's got his Duke Charles d'Albert. He's 381 points. He's his general. He's on a Royal Pegasus, heavy armor, shield lance, gauntlet of duel, bedazzling helm, and the Luckstone, as well as the Virtue of Heroism. I thought that was it. I mean, it's a solid kit for a Duke. Obviously, it's got the Killing Blow and Monster Slayer. He's got a lance, so he's got strength 6 on the charge or something like that. Royal Pegasus because 360 line of sight and charge arcs. It makes sense to take this. It's pretty common in Bretonnia. Not breaking the mold here. Then he's got his Baron at 317 points, also on a Royal Peg, heavy armor, shield, Ogre Blade, Virtue of Knightly Temper, and a Grail Bow. Again, just a psychopath with plus D3 attacks and hatred on the charge, and Ogre Blade. This is, again, a staple in any Bretonian army. If you don't take it, you're either trying to be edgy or trying to make something else work. This is just a good kit, and I can't fault anyone for taking it. I'd be surprised if I saw a Bretonian list without this. And then, of course, he's got a Prophetess, who's a level 4 wizard with battle magic on a Royal Peg with a Ruby Ring of Ruin. I believe that was it for the characters. In core, he's got 531 points, which consists of 2 units of 5 mounted knights in a realm with a first knight standard and the knight's vow. And then he's got a 3rd unit of mounted knights in a realm. This one's a 6x with first knight standard and the knight's vow. He's got a unit of 11 peasant bowmen and then another unit of 10 peasant bowmen. And then in special for 513 points, he's got 4 Pegasus Knights with the first Knight Standard Bearer and a War Banner, a second unit of 4 Pegasus Knights with first Knight Standard and a banner of Shalons. I think that's how you say it. Don't care if it's not. That's why I'm going to say it. Here are the spells I got for this one. Itamedagasi got Incantation of Desiccation, I believe. I wanted to try it out just to see. I might never do that again. He also got Glittering Robes and Spectral Doppelganger because he's got the Lore Familiar. And the 2 spells that I really want are Glittering Robes and Spectral Doppelganger. I wanted to try Desiccation to see if it would ever have a use case, but it's such a short range and it's such a short duration. I don't think I'll ever take it again. Bernice got Incantation of Desert Wind, Unquiet Spirits, Curse of Years, and Spectral Vortex, I believe. And then Baby Mage got Incantation of Cursed Blades and Spirit Leech. So not a bad choice of spells for this one. Not everyone goes crazy with casters like I do, so my opponent ended up with Fireball, Arrow Attraction, and Pillar of Flame, as well as Cowardly Flight in his Prophetess, I believe. And here's deployment. So as you can see, we both did denied flanks. Opposite flanks, but flanks nonetheless. Honestly, I knew he had to come to me. I knew I was going to go first because they're Bretonians, so I decided to just line up on the right side there. He realized what I was doing, I think a little too late, which I'm okay with, and ended up putting all of his stuff on our left flank, and I put all my stuff on my right flank, basically knowing he has to come to me. I arrange him. There's no reason for me to move forward. So yeah, on there, starting on our left is my big brick of skeleton archers with baby mage installed. Behind them is my swarm or battery packs, whatever you want to call them. I stacked up my Boshati because the idea is I'm going to try to get the bigger unit on the hill. The smaller unit's just going to try to squeak around and get in front of the hill to fire at any targets of opportunity I might have. And then, of course, on the right side there, I've got all my skeleton horse archers providing a screen for Bernice, who's going to try to get around on my opponent's flank and just shoot at them from behind with their bows and her unquiet spirits, as well as try to get her vortex out there just to impede movement and stuff like that as best she can. Itamedagasi's in the back. He can see over everything. He can charge over anything. So if anything gets within range and I think he can take it, I'll send him in. And the 3 Tomb Scorpions I have are in reserve. I really don't intend to summon any of them. There's only archers on the table, so Terrors Below really isn't going to be a huge, game changer in this one. one. But if I can get them to come up behind him and the Pegasus Knights are away or don't have line of sight, which would be very difficult, they could do some serious damage if they got into the rear flank of those Knights of the Realm. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about deployment. For my opponent on our left flank, his right, he's got his Pegasus Knights with his Prophetess in there on the left side. His Baron is not in a unit. He's up front, right up on the left. Next to them is his unit of Peasant Bowmen. Behind them is his big unit of Pegasus Knights. His Duke and his Prophetess are in that unit. Then he's got 3 units of Knights of the Realm, 5, 5, and 6, respectively. And then, of course, his last unit of Peasant Bowmen right next to the house. So this is gonna be a pretty good fight. I'm hoping I'm able to soften up him enough that when close combat finally occurs, Idametigasi, my Ushapti, and the archers are able to finish him off no problem. So yeah, no surprise to anyone. It's Sears top 1 after movement, and I got to go first because he had to sit and pray. So yeah, kind of an interesting turn. I went forward as much as I could. It's not like my guys can march, so I moved forward a little bit, started to angle towards him to get lines of fire and stuff like that. I don't think my archers are going to be in range. Maybe a few for the bowmen, but the Boshati will be able to shoot some stuff. Yes, I am blocking one or two of the Boshati in the back there, but that's totally fine. This is the first turn, and it's not like he's going to be able to really do anything anyway this turn. So yeah, Bernice and her screen move up. However, speaking of Bernice, during the strategic phase, the very first spell I cast with any of my casters at the very first, in the return game anyway, Bernice miscasts and miscasts 10. So yeah, she got Incantation of Desert Wind off, which is great. She's got Reserve Move, but can't cast anything else the rest of the turn, which really sucks. Not that I think I was really going to try to cast anything crazy, but having the option would have been nice. Glittering Robe, stuff like that. But no, Bernice is like, I'm going to cast and no one else. We go in the shooting phase, and my archers, my Boshati on the hill, fire at his bowman. I don't remember how many can shoot. I think 3 or 4. I don't think everybody was in range. And I'm able to kill one of them. So I staple one guy to the ground real good. My second unit Boshati, the 3 that can see and are in range, shoot at him, and I'm able to kill one more. So, nickel and diamond, but I'll take it. And then at the end of the shooting phase, I use my reserve move to move Bernice and her screen of skeleton horse archers up a little bit further. Yeah, I know it's a regular march for everyone else, but for undead, this is pretty quick. Here's bottom of 1 after movement, and as you can see, he shifts his stuff over, pretty much avoiding my Boshapti as much as possible with the Peg Knights. He's hugging that left flank, and honestly, I don't blame him for a second. I'd have done the same thing. His Knights of the Realm move up, and he knows that he's giving me shots at him. I know he knows, but it's going to be interesting to say the least. I'm going to definitely take those shots. But that's really it. His archers do fire at me, but aren't able to hit or wound. His spells are all out of range. I think he even march with his casters. So here's top of 2 after movement, and more of the same. My Boshati move up. I think my archers stayed still because a lot of them were in range of his Knights of the Realm that were mounted. I kind of moved my skeleton horse archers up in a staggered formation to kind of protect Bernice. Not that anything could really shoot at him, but just in case he had any craziness I wasn't expecting, which happens. I figured she'd be in a more protected place. There she is in the middle with Incantation of Desert Wind on her. Baby Mage got Incantation of Cursed Blades off, which is going to really, really help. And honestly, that's it for movement. In the shooting phase, my horse archers that can see fire at the bowmen and are able to kill 3 of them, which was pretty impressive. My smaller unit of Boshati fire at the Knights of the Realm on the left side there and kill one of them. Not terrible, but I'll take it. And then my brick of archers that can see the Knights of the Realm over here and are in range fire. I think it was like 15 to 16 shots total. And holy crap, all but 1 Knights of the Realm die in that unit. I was really excited. My opponent rolled like absolute crap. I admit that, but ooh, that felt good to watch. He takes his panic check and he flees. He's out. He's like, nope, don't want anything to do with this anymore. And honestly, I don't blame him. We don't have any combat or anything like that yet, so here's bottom of 2 after movement. And I did forget to say that I got the Spectral Vortex off or whatever. I just put it there in case he decided to charge or anything like that, because his Knights of the Realm were kind of close. I wanted to make sure that if they did go, maybe I'd take some dangerous terrain, or they'd take some dangerous terrain checks, stuff like that. It was a gamble. I didn't think it was actually going to stop anything, but better than nothing. But as you can see, he did not charge. He does realign though. He knows I'm coming, and he kind of gets sets up to charge me or whatever. I have zero intention of getting within charge range, especially with my skeleton horse archers with their reserve move. They can move close, fire, and fall back, hopefully staying out of range for any kind of charge. His bowmen in the back, they just kind of back up a little bit so that they aren't in the way of the charge of the mounted knights of the realm if he wants to. I believe he gets the lady's wrath off on his unit of Pegasus with the prophetess in it, and then the rest of them, they're just kind of moving around the flank there, trying to stay out of range of the Boshati, which is really, really smart. I see them coming. I'm getting ready to turn Itametigasi that direction. I honestly want to get as many shots off on them as I possibly can before I have to face them in combat. With a little luck, I can kill them off and not have to face them in close combat. That'd be great, but we'll see how that goes. But honestly, that's all that happens in his turn. His archers fire but aren't able to hurt me, and I don't believe his prophetess is able to get anything off to cause any damage. So here's top of three after movement. And again, I'm just kind of moving around and aligning so that I can shoot his stuff. There's no reason for me to move forward and take anything in close combat. Bernice does summon one of my Tomb Scorpions behind his archers there, which is excellent. And yeah, I get the big unit off the hill and I put the smaller unit of Boshati on the hill partially. The idea is that next turn they'll be able to turn around and fire the Pegasus Knights before they charge into Itametigasi or my archers or wherever the hell they're going. That is really it, though, for my movement. I think I get Incantation of Desert Wind and Curse Blades off again, which is tremendous. And Itametigasi keeps Glittering Robes on. So, yeah, I'm sitting pretty. When I brought the Tomb King, or I'm sorry, the Tomb Scorpion on the table, he caused Terrors Below on his peasant bowman and killed three of them. That is not where he popped up on the table. This is after movement. He popped up within little over 6 inches away, but within 8, which caused the check. So please don't think I was cheating. I was not. I'm much more subtle when I cheat. But yeah, he took the 3 and failed all 3 of the initiative checks, forcing 3 of those guys into the desert. So best Tomb Scorpion in the world? I think so. Over here, Bernice gets her vortex off, which is great because now they can't use a general's leadership and they're at -1 leadership. And then she gets unquiet spirits off on that unit of knights of the realm mounted, which does 3 or 4 wounds to them, taking them down to 2. It was a lot more than I was expecting, but I'm very happy with it. And yes, I needed 5s to wound. If you can believe it, thanks to the damn vortex, they actually fail their leadership check and fall back about 6 inches. So they are, I think it was just fall back in good order. No, they're below 50%. It was a flea move. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So I got to be honest, I was not expecting not only to do that many wounds to those knights, but for them to break and flee and being below 50%. So that was huge. So with the Ruby Ring of Ruin, I fired at the peasant bowman on the hill, and Bernice is able to kill 7 of them because she's a psychopath and I love her. They are outside of the range of the vortex and in the range of their general, I believe, or some sort of knights. So they were able to make their panic check no problem. They stayed there, but they're a lot less threatening with only 3 of them. And then my large group of Boshati fire at the one remaining big brick of mounted knights of the realm and take them down to 1 model, which is excellent. I made all those mounted knights of the realm less threatening to my army pretty quick, and I'm very, very pleased about it. Still no combat, so here's bottom of turn 3 after movement. And yeah, his Knights of the Realm flee off the table. None of them rally. So yeah, if they were fleeing, they're gone. That's outstanding. That's a lot of points in my pocket. In the center there, his 2 remaining unit or models with his peasant moment move up right to the edge of the vortex without stepping into it, trying to make the scorpions charge a little bit harder. The 1 remaining mounted Knights of the Realm moves forward, just kind of accepting his fate. The peasant bowmen on the hill stay still, and all the Pegasus Knights move forward. We know what's coming, but I'm okay with it because now they're in range of the Boshati, and that's what I've been waiting for. I've got to do as much damage to them as I possibly can before they hit me because they're the most dangerous models on the table next to Ida, and those characters are a lot more dangerous than Ida. Let's be honest. We go into the magic phase, and his prophetess loses her damn mind. She gets the Ruby Ring of Ruin and Fireball off on my archers, taking them down to, what was that, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So she cuts the unit in half, does 15 wounds to him. Yeah, I had that coming. I'm not even upset. I get it. I deserve this. That's really it, though. And so here's top before after movement, and I'm prepping. I see what's coming. I'm not thrilled about it. I move my archer unit. I am able to bring back 9 or 10. I can't remember exactly how many of those guys. Let's see. It looks like I brought back maybe 9 or so. So that's good. They're not full, but I think they're up to 26, which is still a solid amount of wounds for that unit. I get Incantation of Cursed Blades off. I get Incantation of Desert Wind off. I charge into the two peasant bowmen in the middle there with my Tomb Scorpion, and he deserves a solid lunch. And I get Glittering Robes on Itamedagasi just in case. His guys are pretty far away. I don't know if he'd be able to actually make that charge. I think he could declare it, but it'd be a difficult one for him to make. I'm right on the cusp. But the Boshati move around and position themselves to fire at them. I can't shoot at them yet. The guys on the hill can't see the actual unit, can only see the Baron, who's not part of the unit. So I can't target him. I can't hit that unit of Pegasus Knights yet. But the big unit of Boshati can see the Duke and Prophetess unit. So I'm going to shoot at them and hopefully kill them. And then both of my Scorpions come onto the table on the left side there, and they're going to try to chase down the Pegasus Knights the best way that they can. With a little luck, I can get them into combat with them and start just murking people left and right. Because every 6 is more or less a dead Pegasus Knight or character. So I'm really hoping for that. But yeah, that's it for movement. In the shooting phase, no wasted effort. My archers fire at his one remaining mounted knight in a realm and kill him dead. And you know what? I don't feel bad about it at all. The big break of Boshati fire at his Duke Prophetess unit of Pegasus Knights, and I'm able to kill 2 of the Peg Knights, which is excellent. They do pass their panic check, which would have been hilarious if they had failed, but yeah, killing those guys felt pretty good. And because I really don't have any other targets, Bernice fires the Ruby Ring of Ruin off on the Bowman on the hill. I'm able to kill 2 more, but I believe he passes his panic check. With shooting over and magic over, we finally get into some combat. The Tomb Scorpion just destroys the 2 peasant bowmen that are alive still. I think their spirits join the little vortex right there. Instead of overrunning and potentially causing a dangerous terrain check on the Tomb Scorpion, I'm able to restrain, and then I turn to face the peasant bowman on the hill. Because you know what? The Tomb Scorpion enjoyed it so much the first time, he wants to do it again. With that handled, here's bottom of turn 4 after movement, and no charges yet, but his Pegasus move forward. I mean, that's really all he's got left. And a Bowman, they move forward. I've got a problem. Itamedagasi is going to back up because I choose life. My Boshati are going to shoot the hell out of him and hopefully kill enough of them that it's no longer an issue. And yeah, that's really it for his movement. Once again, his prophetess in the magic phase just goes off, gets the ruby ring ruin and fireball off on my Boshati, killing one and putting 2 wounds on another. It could have been a lot worse, but damn, 5 wounds on the Boshati? That's just rude. There's still no combat, so here's top of turn 5 after movement. And yeah, Itamedagasi backs up. He's still in charge range, but the way I see it is if you make that charge, you've earned it. My archers do reform, or at least spin around or whatever, to turn and face the Peg Knights. They're going to shoot at them, those that can see, but if they decide to charge me, there's really nothing I can do at this point. I'm going to be honest, I completely forgot that my BSB had the Banner of Desert Wind in there. I've not been taking my reserve moves with my archers. Did not remember that until the game was over. So, my bad. Hey, I'm out of practice. The Boshati on the hill back up a little bit. They are going to shoot at the Baron unit of Pegasus Knights. I don't know if they're going to be able to do enough wounds to really make a difference, but I'm certainly going to try. The bigger unit moves up a little bit to shoot at the Duke Prophetess unit of Peg Knights. Bernice and her screen unit of horse archers move up. They're going to shoot at him. I didn't want to put Bernice close enough to try to get Unquiet Spirits off. It's a level 4 versus a level 4. And to be perfectly honest with you, I even with reserve move, I was nervous about getting close enough to fire it off and then backing up and then getting charged and losing my level 4 to a psychopath unit of Peg Knights. The 2 Tomb Scorpions chase after them, but I placed them poorly. I should have placed them on the bottom edge of the map and put them somewhere else, or at least had them ready to countercharge something else. Bad idea on my part. I'm going to pay for that later. And then the other Tomb Scorpion in the middle charges the Bowman on the hill, fails. The Bowman stood and shot, failed to wound him, and that's it for movement. In the shooting phase, the archers fire at the Pegasus Knights and are able to kill 1. 2 wounds slip through. I'll take it. Every little bit helps. the big unit of Boshati, who I was able to heal in the strategic phase, and they're up to six again. One guy's carrying a wound, but they fire at the Duke Prophetess unit of Peg Knights and kill another one, maybe two of them, bringing it down to basically one Peg Knight and two characters. So now I'm gonna have to start divvying up shots, which will be fun. And then the horse archers take pot shots at them. And I did divvy up the hits, and the only one to take a wound, I believe, was the Pegasus Knight himself. I don't think that's the Duke. I'm not 100% to be perfectly honest, but one guy takes a wound, and that's good enough for me. Well, here we go to bottom of turn five, and despite my best efforts to dodge my opponent, he finally got me into close combat. He did get the Lady's Wrath off, or on his Duke Prophetess unit, which is good for him, bad for me. But the only one in that unit that was able to hit my unit of archers was the Prophetess, so that's good. And yes, I'm well aware that the two models that couldn't get in the base-to-base contact with me should have died per the FAQ. I think that's the stupidest rule on the planet. I hate that rule. I will not abide by it. I'm sorry. Unless I'm at a tournament and a judge forces me to, I am not playing by that rule. You don't like it. I get it. That's fine. But it's the stupidest thing in the world to think, charge! Well, couldn't make it into formation with the rest of them, so better Harry carry myself. Not a chance. Not a chance. So he just staggers like that, and that's totally fine. They won't be participating in the combat. His Baron unit with the three Pegasus Knights, they make it in no problem and line up as you can see. And the Bowman on the hill just kind of stays still. That's it for his movement. We go straight into the combat phase, and as you can see, it goes very, very poorly for me. I made a ton of my regen saves. Not that that's going to help me with combat res, but as you can see, I think what 6 models got dropped, and including my unit champion, because of course the Eastern Challenge is properly accepted, and she was able to do at least one wound to him. But I made a lot of regen saves, which I'm very pleased about. In the end, though, I think he had 21 combat res in total to my 4. I believe I rolled for the BSB's Indomitable, and I still only rolled 1, so that sucked. But yeah, he wins by like 17. It's ridiculous. But the unit is able to absorb it, and they will. It is my turn next, so I'm going to be able to try to bring some back. Maybe I can salvage his combat. We will see. Another great thing, though, is that his unit, its Prophetess and Duke unit, are are out of the combat now. So they have a choice. They could overrun. They could, restrain and reform, whatever they wanted to do. And he decides to overrun, and he almost hits my unit of skeleton archers on horseback. That would have sucked. Literally missed them by 0.4 inches. So I'll take. He did back up to 1 inch to keep with the rules and everything like that, but he ends up right in the shooting gallery, which is excellent for me. But still, that could have been really, really bad. All right, here's top of 6 after movement, and I get kind of ballsy. All right, so I did this for a few reasons. Intimidagacy charge into the Baron for a couple of reasons. Number one, I knew he wasn't going to get his Hatred or D3 attacks. Number two, I'm really curious to see how he's going to do against Blenda, especially with his Spectral Doppelganger. I was able to get Glittering Robes off. I was feeling froggy, and it felt stupid to bring a 430-point character that I wasn't going to use all game. So I charged him into the flank. Might be a good idea, might be a terrible idea. We'll find out in a minute. I am, before all that, able to resurrect a whole bunch of the skeleton archers, as you can see, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. On the middle there, I just kind of lined all the shooting up to fire at his Pegasus Knights with his Duke and his Prophetess. I'm hoping to kill as many of them as I can. My one lone Scorpion is able to finally get into combat with the one remaining Bowman on a hill. He's not going to do well there. And then the two other Scorpions, they move up a little bit, but they're out of this game, and I know it because it's top 6. There will not be a 7th, and that's it for movement. We go into the shooting phase, and to be perfectly honest, my army does excellent. It really does. She does stop Unquiet Spirits with her Prophetess. There's nothing I can do about that. But the Boshati and the Skeleton Horse Archers all do really, really well. I put a lot of wounds on him, and he makes his saves. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm very pleased with my unit's performance, but in the end, his Duke has 2 wounds, and his model in the back there has 1. His prophetess is unharmed because he's making his lady protect saves and his armor saves, and I can't fault him for it, even though I hate him a little bit for it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He did exactly what he should have done, and disappointing, but kind of awesome to witness. With that, we go into combat, and yeah, my Tomb Scorpion, we go over there first, and he's able to eviscerate the Poman. I did try to restrain, he failed, and he overran and ended up dead. Oh, this combat. This combat could have been something. It should have been something, but it wasn't. It wasn't meant to be. Itamedagasi is able to put a couple wounds onto his Baron. It should have been more. I took 3 wounds off the battery pack, the swarms, in order to give Itamedagasi a +6 to cast, right? And then I rolled a 6. So it goes off on a 12, which is respectable. He rolled an 11, so he stopped it on a 15. Oh man, the fact that his prophetess was able to stop this spell just broke me. I was like, no. In the end, I think he won by a lot. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but as you can see, he's got like 9 combat res alone, or maybe it's 5. No. He has 5 combat res to my 4, so he wins by 1. We end up staying right where we're at. Well, I mean, that's not true. We give ground. And my opponent chooses not to pursue. He's able to restrain, and he stays right there. Makes sense. He wants to be able to get his plus D3 attacks, plus hatred, and his lances next turn. That takes us over to bottom of 6, and yeah, he charges back into the archers, and that is it. I don't think he bothers to charge with his other unit of Pegasus Knights because he wants to use magic to try to melt some stuff. Yeah, that's really it for his movement. In the magic phase, his prophetess targets Itamedagasi with Fireball and the Ruby Ring of Ruin, and is able to put 2 more wounds on. With Dry as Dust, it makes sense. I think he was able to wound once and get a Dry as Dust off, but the other spell didn't wound him at all. So I'm up to 5 wounds, which really hurts, but it's not going to be enough to kill him. So that's nice. We go into combat, and yeah, with the charge and hatred and D3 attacks, his Baron basically takes out the unit by themselves. The Pegasus Knights finish off what's ever left. The only thing that is left after the storm is over is poor Baby Mage, and as you can see, he wins combat by around 12, which causes Baby Mage to disintegrate, and he gets all those points. That hurt. And there it is. There's the end of the game. Ooh, it was brutal. But in the end, it was looking so good. But when he got my BSB and my archer unit, that was a huge point shift. Over 300 points plus the banners. So, oof. Big oof. In the end, he ended up getting 465 out of me, and I got 526 out of him. So it was a draw. It was a really close draw, too. It all came down to him taking out that unit of archers. If I had just been able to hold on to 1, I would have won this game. Or if I had been able to take out 1 more Pegasus Knight in like his Duke Prophetess unit or what have you. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, right? If Itamedagasi would have been able to get a spell off, there's a million things that could have gone, just slightly better for me and I would have won. Or slightly better for him and he would have won. So this was an excellent game though, and I have no complaints. It felt really good to be playing the Tomb Kings again. It felt really good to have a dragon on the table. And honestly, this draw was a lot of fun. But you know what? I'm excited about the recap, so let's get to it. I mean, this was a hell of a game. It really was. It was a great practice game. It was a great test for this list, and to just get me back into the habit of playing Tomb Kings. The Boshati did outstanding, both units. I was so pleased with how many times they hit, and they were rolling average. It wasn't out of the box or anything like that, but they did a great job taking out those mounted knights of the realm, and they did some serious damage to the Pegasus Knights. He made more of his saves with the Peg Knights, but really happy with them. And the skeleton archers did really well too. They were rolling out of the box though. I mean, I must have put 8 to 10 wounds on every time I fired with them. And it wasn't always volley fire either. It was just really good rolling. And my opponent was rolling horrible for the saves against them. But man, I really enjoyed that. 2 units of Peg Knights into my skeleton archers was too much for any unit to deal with. But honestly, I get it. I got why he sent both units in. It was smart. I did try to whittle them down so they weren't quite as dangerous. It would have been great to kill his prophetess, but unfortunately, I didn't have anything. I don't know who would have anything that could deal with any Bretonnian lords, really. The 360 line of sight, charge arc, and just the kits that they can take. The Duke was too dangerous for Ida to go into because if he rolled a 6, I had a 5-up save to stop it. If he rolled 2 6s to wound, Ida was, you just pick him up. There's no chance I'm rolling 2 5s. And if I do, then I mean, God wills it, right? So, and then of course his Bretonnian Baron, the Baron Blenda or whatever, plus D3 attacks, hatred on the charge with the Ogre Blade. No, thank you. No, thank you. I thought about it. I really did think about it, but well, I did charge into him once the first round of combat was over with the archers, but when he stopped that spell, when his damn caster stopped that spell, oof, just way too scary. Really changed the game there. If that spell had gone off, that Baron would have been dead. I would have probably been able to finish off the Peg Knights with Ida in the aftermath. Just woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Pretty happy with the list, though. I am going to tweak it a little bit. You'll see that next game. But for the most part, my Dragon Envy is sated, and I'm enjoying running around. I do have an idea for 2 High Priests on a Dragon. I'm probably going to play it eventually. I just wonder if it's too much. But all in all, really happy with how this game played out. And it was an excellent game with a hard-fought draw. I'm looking forward to the rematch. All right, all my killings no longer go to the Dark Gods. They're going back to King Hotep, Bubba Hotep, the one and true Tomb King, and my Tithe of Bones. And I get to add some more to the Bretonnian list, so that's kind of nice. Didn't kill any of his characters, not from lack of trying, just because he was playing them excellent. I mean, he really did. He did not give me easy shots at them, and he only put them in peril when he absolutely had to. Well played, and so there's no new characters to put in the old Tithe there. In core, there were no men-at-arms or Grail monks on the table, but there were some peasant bowmen, and I killed 20 of them, bringing my total up to 45. There were no Knights of the Realm on foot, but I was able to kill all the Knights of the Realm that were mounted, bringing my total up to 17, so adding 16 to that list. I did see that for some reason I had this in special. It was just one. I moved him back over to core. I'm just going to blame myself for that one and move on. In special, though, I did add 4 Pegasus Knights to my Tithe, which King Hotep would love because Pegasus Knights make great chariots once all that pesky flesh has been peeled off. And of course, since there was nothing in rare, those numbers of Grail Knights and everything stayed the same. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. My numbers in the Chaos Dwarves are still pretty decent as well. Well, my Orcs and Goblins numbers could really go up, but I don't have an Orc and Goblin opponent. If you'd like to fix that, reach out. In my Wood Elves, I mean, still probably my best numbers out of all of the different lists I've gone up against or races I've gone up against. Still haven't broke 100, but all I need is one more Glade Guard. Oh, that'll be fun. With Tomb Kings, the unworthy ones, those numbers stay the same. And of course, the Demons and Warriors of Chaos numbers stay the same as well because I haven't run into them in a long time. But that's going to do it for this one. Another battle report in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But as always, thanks!